This is Rogers.
Good evening and welcome to West Talk. Today's Tuesday, October the 15th, and we've got an exciting episode for you, as always. A couple notable things on the go today. Well, it's election day, and we are going to pick a new premier for this province and some new representatives for our regions. And this evening, starting at 8 p.m., right after this pretty much, I'm going to be back and we're going to be hosting live coverage, jumping in from Brook, to bring you the latest with this evening's election. And I'll be joined by some guests here, and it's going to be great. So make sure you're getting your election coverage this evening from us here on Rogers. Keep tuned for that. Yesterday was a fun day in Brook, one of the most beautiful, spectacular fall days ever. A beautiful crisp morning, and we woke up to the Queen Mary 2 out in the bay, which dumped off a load of tourists who really loved Brook yesterday. And I had the privilege of showing some of them around, which is nice because I get to hear all their feedback and all the lovely things they had to say about our town. And one thing that stood out that kept coming up was how people appreciated the authenticity of our our city. There's nothing put on about it. When they go into the stores, it's not tourist stores, it's the same stores we shop in, and the guides are just like normal people, not super, touristy tour guides. So it's always nice to be reminded of why our area in this world is the best. Now, moving forward, we've got an interesting episode for you. We're going to be talking about, we're going to be going back over 100 years in this episode. We're going to be talking about history with George from the Brook Museum and Archives. But first, we're going to be crossing the street from the museum, headed over towards Bennett Hall, which is an old building on West Street you might not have even noticed in the past. And here with me right now is a friend and member of the local Shrine Club. That's right, the Shriners. And it's getting on Christmas, so you're going to be seeing these guys all over the place. And that's why I wanted to bring Ian in to tell us what this is all about. Thanks, man, for coming down.
That's a pleasure as always.
Now, Ian, you're here because you're a past president of the local Shrine Club, and now you're involved at a higher level in the organization, but I thought you'd be the perfect person to come and explain to people, who are these fellas wearing fezzes in the mall, and what are they up to, and where do they get these cars? So, so first of all, welcome, and did you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all, or sort of how you ended up in this organization in the first place?
Well, yeah, I joined the Shriners, or the Masons, I guess, first. To become a Shriner, you have to be a Mason first.
Right.
So there's two Masonic lodges in Brook Lodge, which you're a member of, and Lodge Lomond, which I'm a member of. So I joined the Lodge Lomond in 2016, 2017, and 2018. One of the brothers approached me and asked, if I would be interested in talking about the shrine. Mm-hmm. And I did. I was always curious, you see little cars riding around in parades and stuff, and say, who are these guys and what do they do?
Yeah.
And turns out they do a lot of good for a lot of people, and we've helped a lot of families through the years in Newfoundland, even in our little community here. Mm-hmm. So
all Shriners begin essentially as part of the Freemasonry fraternity.
Yes.
But you said off camera, I guess a good way to describe it is that the Shriners are like the philanthropic, more community forward-facing arm of Freemasonry.
Exactly. So initially, back in I think it was the mid to late 1800s, the Shrine fraternity was founded by a bunch of Masons who were kind of not really tired of, but wanted something beyond the normal pomp and process of the craft lodges and Freemasonry lodges. So
they wanted to have some fun.
They wanted to have some fun. So basically, they started the Shriners, and I'm not really sure what that looked like way back when, but I imagine it was a lot of the same thing out in the community, promoting Freemasonry and just trying to bring people in by saying we do more than just wear our suits and have meetings. But then I'm not really sure how it started, but one of the gentlemen saw a little girl that had a crutch, and he picked her up and put her up on his shoulder and carried her, and someone got a picture of that, and that became the the public eye of what the shrine is. You know, Shriners,
Interesting.
big,
I think
tall,
it's
strong men helping little kids. You know.
I think I've seen that sort of imagery. It's like it's probably one of your Shriners symbols.
It
I
is,
think maybe
yeah.
seen it around
It is
the
yeah.
lodge of somebody holding an injured child kind of thing.
with a crutch. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean. And then it wasn't until 1922, I think, was the date when we finally founded our philanthropy, which is basically helping sick children. And it's a very specific type of philanthropy that we do. I mean, we help children with orthopedic, limbs, arms and legs, and spinal cord injuries. Burns, which is probably something you've heard of. I think there was a local guy years ago that was helped.
Yeah, that was actually the first time I ever heard about the Shriners.
Yeah.
And I don't mind saying it because he's very public with this, Michael Galtos, who famously as a child was very injured in a fire, and thanks to the Shriners was able to get some treatment. So he went around delivering speeches
Yes.
and always mentioned this care. So that was the first time it came into my head. But carry on.
Exactly, yeah. And so Boston Burns, I think, would have been the closest burn center that we have. But essentially in Canada, in Eastern Canada and Newfoundland, most of our work is done through Shriners Hospital for Sick Children in Montreal, which we just recently had our 100th anniversary. And it was a big gala there, and we had a few. I couldn't make it, unfortunately, but.
So the hospital was like established by the Shriners?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's like funded and still fully operated
Still
by the Shriners?
fully funded and operated by the Shriners.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
No wonder
yeah.
you guys are selling these tickets all the time, man. That
Yeah,
must be quite,
It's quite, and and all through the United States, there's literally, I think there's 350,000 Shriners
Yeah.
in North America, ballpark. In Newfoundland, we have just under 300, I think. So we do a lot of work to keep these sick children moving. Our biggest portion of that is to fund the hospital, but also to fund our local patients getting there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you have a patient that qualifies for some of the things, cleft lip and palate, spinal cord injuries, burns, orthopedic injuries, those are the main focus of our health care. Then you just reach out with our Mazzol website online. There's a tab you can just click on, and you can see if you can become a patient. We can help you get there and get the best care, and some of the best care in the world. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So I want to touch more on some of the fun stuff that
Sure.
you do, but on the topic of sort of fundraising and stuff, right now it's an active time. You guys are really out there in the community raising funds going into Christmas. There's a couple things I think worth mentioning. So the sort of the ticket, the prize draw, the Christmas calendar thing you guys have on the go?
Yeah, right now we're selling. You'll probably see some guys in the grocery stores, in the malls, and you can pick up tickets at different places around the city. Basically, it's our Christmas calendar draw. So that has a prize for so you pay $10 for a ticket, which may seem a little bit pricey for a ticket, but you actually get 31 chances to win out of that one ticket.
Every day.
And even if your name is drawn, it still gets put back in. So it's not like one and done. So if you get pulled out once, your name still goes back in for the rest of the draw. So you do actually get a full 31 chances to win out of that ticket.
And every day you're giving out cash prizes from $100 to $1,000 depending. So
Yep.
So it's a pretty good bang for the buck, I would say.
It is, absolutely.
And then you also have the bingos on the go now.
Yeah, every Tuesday night on Bay FM, we call bingo. Again, there's several places along both sides of the bay here and right in Corner Brook. And I think the Bay, as far as the Bay FM signal will go, and even online, you can stream it. I think now you can join our bingo, and if you want to know a little bit more about it, that we do have a Facebook page. It's just Long Range Shrine Club here in Corner Brook, and there's lots of information there about our ticket draw and about the bingo.
So pretty much anybody who's listening to this can participate in the bingo if they have internet at least.
Absolutely. If you have internet or if you have a radio and you're within their Bay FM streaming or radio zone, you can tune in and have some fun.
Awesome. So back to the fun stuff again.
Yep.
Let's talk about with the parades. I guess, a lot of us have seen, maybe people don't realize it's the Shriners, but around here at Christmas time, a very exciting thing we see in the parades is these little cars and micro trucks that are coming around. It looks so fun. Do you know, sort of, not to put you two on the spot, do you know how that came to be? Like what the relation is with these little cars?
To be honest, where it came from, I don't know, but as far as I know, it's been like, you go back in history, in Mazzol, in St. John's, you look back, I've gone back into the CJON archives from time to time and look back at some of the old parades in St. John's, and the Shriners have always been
Yeah.
parading with their band and the Missoula Patrol, and
Right.
in their big thing was the Keystone Cops, that little two-sided Mini Cooper that used to ride around, and they'd pick people out of the parade and stick them in a little prison cell and take them for a little ride, and then they go pick them up a little bit later.
That
and
sounds
stuff.
hilarious.
So that was quite fun. I experienced that as a little kid myself a couple times, right?
So probably the whole thing is really just meant to make people smile, make children happy.
You know what? I've driven when I joined the Shriners back in 2017, 2018, I said, first meeting I went to, I said, I'll drive one of the cars.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else has got their name in yet, but I want to do it.
Yeah.
And my wife always tells the story whenever we're sitting around. She says that was one of the first things that he wanted to do when he joined the Shrine, was make sure he could drive one of those trucks. And I did.
Did you have a chance?
I did. Oh yeah, for 3 or 4 years, and then now I usually tow the trailer.
Right.
So we have our Long Range Shrine Club trailer, which goes with the cars, just in case we have trouble through the parade. We can stick it back inside and still keep moving.
You guys got a lot. Yeah, you know how to handle yourself at these parades. Lots of experience of what can go wrong, I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We just got our trucks refurbished, so now we should be good for another long period. So we just, we dragged our trailer out to Gander this summer for our summer ceremonial, and we also took it to the Northeast Shrine Association parade in PEI this summer. So we did have some great fun with our unit this year.
That sounds so cool, man. And so just finally off the top, because I know we're going to have people who hear this and their kind of eyes are open to it, but what if anybody's listening and they think this sounds awesome, I want to know more, what should they do? How do they find out about becoming a Shriner?
Well, to become a Shriner, to come full circle, you have to be a Mason.
Yeah.
There's 2 Masonic lodges in Corner Brook. If you know someone who's a Mason, or you see me or Dustin walking around in the city,
If you know one, ask one.
To be one, ask one is our slogan, right? So if you want to be a Mason, we don't really go out and solicit people.
Right.
Not
running ads.
We're not running ads. The Shrine does.
Yeah.
The Shrine does, and a lot of their things, they have little banners up, and if you can scan the little QR code, it'll say, what do I do to become a Shriner? And that's one of the first things. You have to become a Mason. You have to become a Master Mason.
Yeah.
You can probably do that in a year to year and a half.
Yeah.
Depending on the frequency of the.
You get out what you put in, right?
You get out what you put in. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
well, that's very well said, man. And hopefully we've tantalized a few people, and maybe they'll be intrigued. But I thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you, Dustin. It's been my pleasure.
Yeah, we're going to cut to a break and chat with our next guest, but we look forward to seeing you at the Christmas parade.
Awesome. Thanks, bud. Take care.
Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back with George from Corner Brook Museum and Archives.
Come to where the land and the spirits are intertwined. Discover a whole new way to see this place. Feel the earth under your feet as you walk the path of our ancestors. Immerse yourself in our traditions. Ours is a culture alive with music, dance, art, nature, and adventure. It's in the air, the water, the sound of the wind in the trees. It's in the stories of our elders and the faces of our children, those with a shared history yet to discover. It's knowing that everything that casts a shadow has a spirit. Everything is alive. See what we see. Experience Malibu.
And we are back. So we just spoke with Ian from the Corner Brook Shrine Club, and of course their home base, their Bennett Hall on West Street, is about to celebrate its 100th year anniversary of being part of the city, and so is our paper mill. And so to talk a little bit more about that and some cool things that'll be happening in the city around that, we have with us now George French, the archivist and manager at the Corner Brook Museum and Archives.
Good day.
George, thanks for coming down, man.
Thank you.
When it comes to matters in Corner Brook that are anything, 50 years and beyond, we need to come talk to you because you're a guy who's really exploring it all. You spent so much time digging into the history of our city, and so thank you for that.
Thank you.
So with the mill celebrating its 100th anniversary, I just wondered, what types of things might be on the go down at the museum, and is that going to be a place where people who want to learn more about the mill's history should be turning to now?
Yeah, so obviously with the 100th anniversary, we're doing a number of events over the past year, and partnerships.
So it's already started, really?
Yes, so it was partnerships with, for instance, helping out with tours of the mill. We went down and set up at the booth there in July.
Yeah.
So it was actually kind of interesting for those that have never been inside the mill before, to get a tour, because it's not something that you regularly get to see.
They used to back in the day, right? You could kind of schedule a tour, and I guess it became a safety thing or something.
I'm not sure, but I know that, like, say, as a kid, as a school kid, we went to the mill.
Oh, yeah?
But to get to see it, because of course it's been 30, 40 years, in between, and to see what changes have been made, and quite a few.
Yeah.
So things like that there. We're currently working on a new exhibit for the mill.
Right. So is this the R.D. Wilson thing, or this is a separate exhibit?
This is separate.
Okay.
It'll be a revamp of the current exhibit that we have, an update. As you mentioned there, the R.D. Wilson exhibition, which we have on display right now at the Rotary Arts Center.
So who is R.D. Wilson?
So R.D. Wilson was an artist who was born in 1920 and passed away in 1994. And he primarily, from Montreal. Okay. And he was specialized in a lot of cases in charcoal and ink sketches, for architecture, landscapes. And he was commissioned by Bowaters in 1970 and 71 to go through the mill and sketch scenes related to the mill. So he sketched scenes inside the mill, out in the wood yard, out in the woods camps. He also shipping. So not only did he sketch some of the ships that were here, but he also would actually sail on the ships and sail to some of the ports of call, like Baltimore, New York.
So he was depicting the whole industry essentially, and the way it connects Corner Brook to the mainland.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So the entire paper process. We have some sketches in the collection, which show just buildings in Baltimore.
Wow.
Just stuff he sketched there. Other parts of the sketches that we have, one on display right now, shows the Wood Camp's mess hall, and the gentleman in behind doing prep work for food.
And as far as would he have been in there, drawing what he was seeing, or would he have been going off of a photograph?
We don't know.
Right.
There's not a lot of information. I would think a lot of it is, you seem to be, the more traditional artist, where you would go and sketch what you've seen at the time.
Yeah.
I know that in part of the Lundgren collection he did in 68, 69, Lundgren family had asked him to come to Newfoundland and go around the province. They had a car with a driver.
Did they commission him before he was commissioned for the mill?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
And I don't know how that played in, but he went around and sketched scenes of Newfoundland. And a booklet was compiled. Actually, it was a booklet of the sketches, and you could actually tear them out and have them mounted. So that came out of that. And
do you have one of those in there?
We have a scan, although we know where one is in the city from the person who donated, or I should say, lend it to be scanned.
Right.
So there is one here, and I know that I believe Munn has one at the Art Gallery in St. John's.
Sounds like a very cool and rare thing that I want.
It was actually an exhibit was done last year at the Rotary Arts of some of these sketches, and they're beautiful. It shows a lot of scenery from all around the province and Labrador. And
So just to bounce back real quick,
Yeah.
George, sorry, the R.D. Wilson exhibit is at the rack.
Yeah, so it's
Okay, I
at the
thought it was
Rotary.
in the
Oh,
museum.
sorry.
That's good clarification.
Yes,
Thank you. Yeah.
so it's at the Open Gallery at the Rotary Arts Center. We partner with the Rotary Arts Center in a number of initiatives over the years,
Yeah.
including use of the art gallery outside.
That makes sense. You're pretty much connected.
Yep,
You are connected,
in a lot of ways. So the sketches, we have 11. It's a selection of the 52 that we have.
11 originals?
Yes,
Oh.
original charcoal
Wow.
and ink drawings.
Can I ask, like, where would they have been forever? Like, have they always been in the archive
no.
or from a private
So
collection?
they were the mill.
Oh,
So
okay.
the mill donated them in the early aughts
Yeah,
to us, and we've had them in the collection, and this is a good year to get them out.
for sure.
The mills still have a few in their collection on display
Yeah.
down at the mill in the office areas.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's quite an interesting collection.
Yeah, it is. And so I guess like going to take in these sketches and paintings and pictures is like just a good way to kind of transport yourself back in time and get a better feel for how things were even in like the 60s and 70s,
Yeah.
which is still a very different time for the mill than say today in terms of modernization and stuff. Very cool. So I'd like to ask you a question if
Yeah.
possible. It's pretty nebulous, but just when I'm with somebody like yourself who has so much knowledge about the history and of the city, are there any at all stories, lore, things that you've come to know about the mill in your time as archivist that kind of stand out, or things that you like to tell people when you meet them that maybe surprises them about the mill's history?
I think for some it's maybe not a surprise if you know a bit about it, but like when the mill was originally constructed, it was the largest in the world.
Yeah.
Cost of $50 million for 1925, 24, 25.
That's big money.
Yeah, I don't know what inflation would be on that, but we're
has to be
talking
$1 billion.
towards upwards towards probably $1 billion,
Yeah.
and it was actually 25 million over budget
Wow.
Yeah, 'cause
and
they
this
were-
was in the 20s.
in the 20s. So I guess castle overruns are still a thing,
Yeah,
even
right.
historically. When it was built, it was actually like it wasn't only the mill. It was obviously 14 major construction projects going on within that. Town site being one, of course, the houses.
That was a Bowaters project, the houses themselves?
Yep. And it wasn't even Bowaters at that point. It was Newfoundland Power and Paper.
Right. The original.
The original
company.
owners, the original company. So you look at Main Dam, the canal,
Right.
connecting Forebay for the water intake for the powerhouse. So, I mean, it's 3 or 4 major projects there. Housing in Deer Lake was also built based on the Cobb houses here. So there was, if you ever, the motel in Deer Lake there, the Driftwood Inn, that I believe burnt.
It did with the Jumbo
yeah.
Gyms burned last
Yeah.
year, I think. Yeah.
If you notice, it was Tudor style, just
It
like
looked
the
just like the
Glenmore Inn.
Glenmore Inn.
Yeah.
Was it built at the same time?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. It was kind of the staff hotel for up there as it was here. So it was around that time frame.
I didn't know that. I always just thought it was like a knockoff. It's like Deer Lake trying to be like Corner Brook or something. Wow, really
Even the
interesting.
houses, some of the houses up there are Cobb designed.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Somebody told me recently that they mentioned that the paper mill was once the largest in the world, which is a really impressive stat. They also mentioned that the hydro project up there was at the time like one of the biggest on the continent. I don't know if that was true or not.
I can't say about that.
Yeah.
I do know that originally the mill was going to be built in Deer Lake. At around the same time as they were planning, alternating current became a thing. So alternating current, you can travel over further distances.
Right.
So
They didn't have to be at the source.
yeah. So in Grand Falls, where the mill was there, they were only 4 or 5 kilometers away from Exploits River, where the power plant was.
Yeah.
So necessitated it to be right there. Whereas here it could have been, like I said, if it was in Deer Lake, now it could be here where the port availability is much more.
But that sounds like a game-changing thing to happen, right? Because now they have
Yes.
the power and they have the port.
Yeah.
So wow,
Whereas
what a
now they don't have
combination.
to put it on a rail car to bring it to the port to.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is that the mill itself was part of, the idea, they say, to hum on the Humber, was Richard Squires and wanting to build up industry along the actual west coast here and
Right.
diversify from just the fishery. But not only that, you're the Reed Railroad. So the Anglo-Newfoundland Development Corporation, which was a subsidiary of the Reed Railroad, they wanted industry along the tracks so that they could utilize it. They owned the land, but also they could utilize it for freight.
Right.
So they could use the services of the railway. So them, in partnership with Armstrong Wentworth, the major armaments manufacturer and engineering corporation in England, and the government of Newfoundland, that are the three partners that built the mill originally under Newfoundland Power and Paper. And that was sold in 1927 to International Power and Paper of the United States until 38 when it was sold to Bowwaters, and of course 84 to Kruger.
The original Newfoundland Power and Paper company that it was that actually a Newfoundland company, or was it owned by in the UK and just named?
It was owned, it was UK and like I said, partnership with the Anglo-Newfoundland Development Corporation. So it was kind of a subsidiary, but named after Newfoundland, obviously being here. It was just the same way as International Power and Paper was what it was called when International Paper Company took over it the States.
George, you're such a wealth of knowledge about this. I just want to have you on a 4-hour podcast to talk about this. But in just the final moment for our interview, is there anything you'd like to say just on behalf of the museum and archives? It doesn't have to be about the mill, but just sort of any invite that you would want to extend to people, maybe give them a little idea of what they could discover within the museum? Yeah.
So again, we have our new exhibits on the indigenous peoples of the area. Also our military exhibit, which came out of the centenary of the war. So these are new exhibits that are at the museum. We'll be installing a new exhibit for next year on the Bowater Collection, which is a collection of oil paintings in the Grenfell Campus Fine Arts Archive. And we'll be open until the end of October. This year, and then after October by appointment, so if anybody wants to come in, they can always phone. And the Rotary Arts exhibition on R.D. Wilson will be open until mid-November.
Awesome.
So that people can still check that out.
At the Rotary Arts.
Yeah, and like I say, we'll be reopening, of course, for the summer season into the fall next year in May.
Amazing. George, thank you so much for coming
Thank you.
on. And that's going to be it for this episode. But if there's ever anything on the go down there in the future similar to this, you'll have to let us know and come back and tell us about it. That's it for tonight's episode. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, of course, and thank you to Ian Osmond from the Corner Brook Shrine Club and George French, Archivist and Manager down at the Corner Brook Museum. You should really try to get down there before the end of the month, and I guarantee it's a good time. You'll definitely learn something that you did not know previously. That's it. Stick around this evening for the live election coverage and find out who our new premier is going to be. Otherwise, we'll see you next Tuesday for another West Talk. Thanks.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
Everybody knows not to drink and drive, but some people still think it's okay to take drugs and drive. Police have the authority, the ability, and the tools to determine if drivers are impaired by legal or illegal drugs. And because drug-impaired drivers can pose just as great a risk as drunk drivers, they face the same penalties, like the loss of their driver's license, a criminal record, fines, and more. A message from the RCMP, the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police, and Arrive Alive, Drive Sober.
Summer days, summer nights, lots of things to do, places to go, and people to see. If you're having a few drinks, be sure to plan ahead and get home safely. We don't want to pick you up. Drinking drivers risk injuries to themselves and others and take chances with their license, their jobs, and their future. Remember what's at stake and choose your ride, whether you're the driver, the passenger, or the party host. Thanks for supporting Sober Driving. I hope we never meet.
Visit ArriveAlive.org to find out more.
I'm Wendell Clark with a word about winning.